It's a quiet morning in Vancouver, Canada, June 28, 2014. A man named Su Bin steps out his front door with a coffee mug in his hand, a seemingly normal suburbanite. But in an instant, that quiet morning shatters. Two unmarked black Crown Victorias slam to a stop, blocking his driveway. 8 officers from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police surround him instantly. The coffee mug hits the concrete. Su Bin doesn't run, doesn't resist. He knows exactly why they're there. For 6 years, this small-time aviation dealer had been the architect of the greatest military technology theft in history. The officers were there for 630,000 stolen Boeing files and the design specs of the F-35 Lightning II stealth fighter. They were there for the radar signatures of the F-22 Raptor. Stolen data that cost America $31 billion in development. Su Bin didn't need guns or lockpicks. He used hackers, emails, and Excel spreadsheets. He didn't just steal documents. He stole the future of air superiority and delivered it to a rival power. But what the officers didn't know yet was that arresting him would trigger an international hostage crisis. And the technology he stole, it was already flying over the South China Sea. How did he pull it off and why? Out of the millions of targets, did a global power choose him? The story begins not in the digital world, but in the physical one. 2008, the Beijing Aerospace Conference. Su Bin wasn't there to sell his company's small cable harnesses. His real job was intelligence. He worked the room like a politician, a master of social engineering. He was a human scanner, memorizing names, companies, and security clearance levels. This is a classic opening move in state-sponsored cybercrime documentary territory, a blend of old-school spycraft and new-school hacking. The People's Liberation Army hackers, codenamed UC2 and UC3, had the technical prowess. But they had a critical problem. They were blind. They couldn't see the internal corporate structure, and they didn't know who had access to the secrets. That was Su Bin's specialty: human intelligence. For 3 years, he mapped the American defense industry from the inside. At the Paris Air Show, he befriended a Boeing engineer. At a supplier conference in Seattle, he met an employee from Lockheed's legendary Skunk Works division. She actually complained about their new security protocols, revealing exactly what they were. Every conversation, every detail, especially the complaints, was recorded in encrypted files labeled cultivation reports. By late 2008, Su Bin had a hit list 147 employees, with 12 of them marked as primary targets. They weren't picked randomly. He was looking for known vulnerabilities, things like financial problems, career bitterness, or simple carelessness with digital hygiene. This is where the modern phishing attack comes in. The Chinese military needed the C-17 Globemaster III transport plane data. Su Bin knew exactly how to find the weak spot. On January 9, 2009, he gave UC2 the perfect template: a spear phishing email. It was disguised as a Boeing pension update. The target, Dennis Liu, a stress engineer Su Bin had met at a trade show who had complained about his retirement fund. This wasn't generic spam, it was a targeted digital arrow. The urgent subject line and the familiarity of the topic created a momentary lapse in judgment. Liu clicks the link. At 2:31 p.m. Pacific Time, the hackers were outside the gates. By 2:32 p.m., they were inside Boeing's servers. Once inside, the PLA hackers didn't smash and grab. They performed an 18-month, low and slow data exfiltration operation. They installed 47 different backdoors and administrator accounts. They operated primarily between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. Pacific Time, Beijing's business hours, when Boeing's skeleton security staff was on duty. This is a classic advanced persistent threat, or APT, tactic. Think about the sheer financial fraud mechanics here. This data, the C-17's cargo loading system, its stress test data, saves a rival power an estimated 2 years of research per file. This isn't just theft, it's an acceleration of military development. Every week, Su Bin received directory listings, thousands of pages of file names. He highlighted the critical ones in yellow. He was the quality assurance filter for a massive digital heist. By March 2010, Su Bin's team extracted 65 gigabytes of C-17 data. He personally translated thousands of pages from English to Mandarin, adding technical notes like critical for thermal management. And this solves our hydraulics problem. The intelligence was packaged, labeled, and ready for immediate implementation. But the C-17 was just practice. The ultimate target was the Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II, a $1.7 trillion program. On October 11, 2011, Su Bin received the ultimate prize, a document containing the electromagnetic signature of the F-35. This single file revealed the exact radar frequencies the stealth fighter was designed to evade. With this data, an adversary can custom-tune their own radars to spot the invisible jet. This changes everything. The method to steal the F-35 data was the key. Since the prime contractor networks were too secure, Su Bin focused on the supply chain, the 700 suppliers across 45 states. These small companies machining titanium, designing sensors, had outdated security protocols, and shared networks with the primes. One small firm had only 43 employees and a part-time IT admin. Their firewall hadn't been updated since 2009. The admin's password 123. UC2 and UC3 were inside in 4 minutes. This is the vulnerability that global security reports constantly warn about. A company can spend millions on cybersecurity, but a single, small contractor's carelessness with passwords can bring the entire edifice down. Over the next 18 months, Su Bin's team infiltrated 21 F-35 subcontractors, stealing 3 terabytes of data across 7 million files. This is the scale of modern military cybercrime documentary reality. The spoils included sensor fusion algorithms, helmet-mounted display specifications, and the radar absorbent coding formula. A product of 11 years and $2.3 billion in development. The transfer of this data had a direct, physical effect. By 2012, China's J-20 stealth fighter prototype was redesigned with a new forward fuselage that exactly matched the F-35's radar cross-section. The secrets were already out. Su Bin earned $4.7 million over 6 years, paid through shell companies in Hong Kong and Macau. This is a classic mechanism for large-scale financial fraud and money laundering, often linked to the dark web's illicit markets. On the dark web, stolen data like this is the currency that underpins everything from major phishing attacks to identity theft. While Su Bin was state-sponsored, the infrastructure he used mirrors how smaller cybercriminals operate to sell credit card dumps and personally identifiable information. But even the most careful spies make one mistake. August 8, 2012. FBI Special Agent Justin Velaz receives a package from the National Security Agency, or NSA. The NSA had intercepted communications using signals intelligence against foreign military servers. The critical line in the report, project manager Steven Su provided target list and translation services. They finally had a name. Finding him took 4 months. His hackers used 13 different email addresses and communicated through draft folders, a technique that avoids most surveillance logs. But on January 14, 2013, someone logged into a dummy account from an IP address registered to a residential address in Richmond, British Columbia. The owner, Su Bin. The FBI's timeline confirmed it. Su Bin wasn't just at the conferences. His presence coincided exactly with new cyber intrusions at the attendee companies. He was the intelligence broker. The damage assessment was staggering: $600 billion in R&D stolen. The thefts accelerated foreign military aviation by 10 to 15 years. Su Bin's luck ran out on June 27, 2014. He booked a flight to China, departing in 48 hours. The FBI knew they had to move immediately. June 28, 5:47 a.m. As Su Bin stepped out, an officer immediately separated him from his Samsung Galaxy phone, his thumb hovering over a button labeled Emergency Clean, a digital kill switch intended to wipe his encrypted messaging app and device clean. They secured 3 laptops, 8 external drives, and 47 USB sticks hidden inside a fake electrical outlet. The F-35 electromagnetic properties file, classified beyond top secret, was found. Su Bin's arrest immediately triggered an international crisis. 6 days later, 2 innocent Canadians, Kevin and Julia Garrett, vanished into detention in China. This was hostage diplomacy. The message was clear: release our asset, or we keep yours. For 18 months, Su Bin's extradition was stalled, a political bargaining chip. But then, a crucial shift. The Canadian courts rejected his final appeal, and American prosecutors offered a plea deal: admit guilt, serve 46 months, and avoid a 60-year sentence. His handlers in Beijing went silent, in a move that shocked Beijing. Su Bin took the deal. His confession in 2016 provided the FBI with a complete blueprint of the operation: names, methods, and targets. This intelligence born from the mind of a spy was invaluable for shoring up U.S. defenses. He was sentenced to 46 months, a light sentence for a massive theft, reflecting the U.S. a strategy to send a message to other foreign assets: cooperate, and we will protect you. The larger impact of the Su Bin affair fundamentally changed how the U.S. handles cybersecurity protocols in the defense sector. The government accelerated the implementation of frameworks like the NIST cybersecurity framework. These frameworks force contractors, especially those small, vulnerable subcontractors, to implement strict, auditable security controls. The key takeaway for enterprise defense is the Zero Trust Network architecture. This model assumes that no user, device, or application inside or outside the network can be trusted by default. Every connection must be verified. The goal is to prevent lateral movement, the exact technique Su Bin's hackers used to steal the F-35 and C-17 files after they broke into the weakest link. Su Bin finished his sentence and was deported. The damage, however, was permanent. China's J-20 is now in mass production, but for us, the digital sleuth viewers, Su Bin's case is a masterclass in how a sophisticated attack is executed and how we can stop it. The techniques used on military engineers are the same techniques used to steal your bank password or your crypto wallet. Here is your practical guide to fighting and recovering from the core threats in this cybercrime documentary. First, phishing is the gateway to the vault. More than 90% of successful cyber attacks start with a phishing email. Always verify urgency. Attackers use urgency, fear, or excitement to bypass your rational thought. If an email tells you to click here immediately or your account will be closed, stop. Hover and check before clicking any link. Hover your mouse over it. Does the URL match the company it claims to be from? Look for subtle misspellings. Never use email links for login. If you need to log into a service, open a new browser tab and type the official address yourself. Second, passwords and multi-factor authentication, or MFA. Su Bin's team got in with password 123. This is non-negotiable. Use a password manager. Use one to generate unique, long, complex passwords for every single account. If one password leaks, the others remain safe. Enable MFA everywhere. Two-factor or multi-factor authentication is your single greatest defense. If a service offers it, turn it on. It would have stopped the C-17 theft even if the engineer had clicked the phishing link. Third, supply chain security. For your digital life, Su Bin targeted subcontractors, and you are a subcontractor in your own life. Keep your software updated. Every software update, whether it's your phone, your laptop, or your Wi-Fi router, contains patches to known vulnerabilities. Turn on automatic updates. Monitor financial accounts. Check your bank and credit card statements weekly. Financial fraud victims who catch unauthorized transactions early suffer significantly less damage. Finally, recovery after the breach. If you suspect you've been compromised, you need to act fast. Immediate isolation. Disconnect the compromised device from the internet. Unplug the Ethernet. Turn off Wi-Fi. Password change. Change the password on the breached account immediately using a different, secure device. Change passwords on any other account that shared the same password. Credit freeze. contact the major credit bureaus and place a freeze on your credit to prevent further identity theft. The Sue Bin affair saved a rival power an estimated 20 years of development time. It showed us that the front line of modern conflict isn't just the battlefield, it's the fragile trust we place in our digital systems. The greatest spies today are just as comfortable in an Excel spreadsheet as they are in the shadows. The price of that convenience, for all of us, is eternal vigilance. The spy war is far from over. It's just evolving. If you want to understand more about the geopolitical stakes of the digital world, hit that subscribe button. Until then, stay skeptical, stay secure, and keep your passwords unique. I'm the Digital Sleuth, and I'll see you in the next investigation.